Hi, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, you have my next vlog, the vlog that's going to span from August to September, and we've hit the point where I have actually read all of the books on my official TBR for August, but it's not September yet. So I don't want to start any of the September books yet because I want them to fit those certain prompts, etc. What I ideally would like to get to in the first half of the week, I have started to listen to the audiobooks of Alcatraz versus the Librarians, Evil Librarians. I wish I had discovered these before because I was just searching for a new audiobook or whatever, and I saw those on there. All of them are on there. Narrator is fantastic. I could have easily listened to those during Can't Believe a Thon. Be that as it may, I have started with The Knights of Crystalia. The only thing that you don't get in the audiobook that you get reading the physical book are the illustrations. So there's lots of illustrations throughout the book. I'm not going to look too closely because I'm not that far. So this is actually book 3, so I'm not going to go into details on that. The audiobooks are only about 5.5 hours long, and I listen to it on 2 times speed. So I probably will start this one as well. Might be able to finish it by Wednesday, not sure. Hopefully I'll be able to finish these 2 on Monday through Wednesday. So these are going to slot in to August as extra books read. As far as a quote-unquote physical book, non-audiobook that I'm going to read, because I have extra days, I am going to read Amari and the Great Game. If I have more time, I'm not sure. I think it might take me Monday through Wednesday to read it just based on the amount of time that I might have to read. I might choose another arc if that's the case and then just not. Or I just deciding on the fly, I will read whatever novellas in Arcanum Unbounded that I need. So Amari and the Great Game and whatever novellas I need in Arcanum Unbounded to get caught up. So that's the first half of the week. Second half of the week, we move into my September TBR and Bookoplathon. So how I'm thinking about tackling my chonkers that I have on this TBR, which are To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which is close to 900 pages, and The Way of Kings, which is about 1,000 pages. I think I'm going to try to tackle those as audiobooks so I can chip away. And I know that I like Michael Kramer as an audiobook. I've experienced a lot of Sanderson's work through audiobook. Well, at least the original Mistborn trilogy. That'll be interesting to read those physically now that I've read those. But anyway, I'm actually going to start with To Sleep in a Sea of Stars because this is the JPEG's book club, JW reads, Pris peruses, Gavin and Steph. So all of their Patreons, since I'm a patron of both JW reads and Gavin, I want to participate in this book club. I did not read Mordu, which was the first book and everybody hated, but this was actually the one for July and August, I think. Might be August and September. I'm not sure, but I think the live show is in September. So I want to start with this and maybe attend the live show if it's on a weekend. So I'm going to start the audiobook. I imagine it will take me a little longer than a week to read it. As far as physical reading, once Thursday, Friday roll around, obviously it's just 2 days. I'm not sure what other books I might pick up, but for sure, I decided I'm going to pick these 2 up, get them crossed off the list. And because it's sitting here, I haven't decided which one I'm going to read because I now have 2 copies of Violet Maid of Florence, which you will see in my August unboxing. This book, whichever version I read, is on my to-read list. So I think now I've talked about a lot of books. I've talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. You know me. I'm always overly optimistic as to what I can read, but since I'm splitting it, I'm splitting the week, I'm splitting it into audiobook and physical, I may actually be able to get to them. So we shall see how that goes. Now I'm off to continue to be productive because I sat down to film almost exactly after I got home from school, which I mentioned in my previous vlog I'm trying to do. So I have some workout stuff that I'm going to do, some daily exercises, bike ride. Might be actually able to get this done. Okay, so coming at you on Wednesday afternoon. I did not film an update yesterday. It just wasn't, I didn't read that much, so I didn't feel like doing a vlog update. And I also filmed other things for other videos. and did editing, so that's why I didn't update yesterday. But I have made really good progress on Amari and the Night, not Amari and the Night Brothers, Amari and the Great Game, and I'm really enjoying it. I am enjoying it more than I enjoyed Amari and the Night Brothers the first time. I'm really enjoying getting back in the world. I think the way that things are unfolding are really interesting. I don't think it's, honestly, right now, I don't think it's doing anything groundbreaking, but I'm still really enjoying it and what it's talking about. So hopefully I will be able to come at you tomorrow with what I thought of the book overall. The audiobook I'm listening to and hoping to finish today, and probably will, is the third Alcatraz book. And I really am thankful that I found the audiobook version of it. It's taking my experience with the books to a different level. I probably will flip through and look at the illustrations, but I'm really enjoying it. And I also enjoy what Sanderson is doing with Alcatraz's character in this book. He comes out and says it, because this is the kind of memoir that's being written where the author is speaking to the reader. And so Alcatraz is telling the readers, hey, for the first 2 books, I was telling about how terrible I was, and you guys are still reading these books, so now I'm gonna tell you how great I am. And that goes right along with what's happening, because in this book, they've finally gotten back to the kingdom, the Hushlands Kingdom, not Hushlands Kingdom, Free Kingdom, that Alcatraz's family is from. He didn't grow up there, and now he has all this stuff and everyone thinks he's amazing, and it's going to his head. Well done. It's well done. So I'll hopefully be finishing that today. And then tomorrow starts my September TBR. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, I'm gonna update real quick. It's Wednesday night, still the same night. I filmed a last minute little clip for my wrap up for August that I wasn't gonna do a full review of the 2 books that I expected to finish. I didn't get to the other one because I decided to finish Amari and the Great Game. I'm fully on the hype train now. Fully on the hype train. I was kind of like, this is great. This is good. I was going, this is good, this is great, for about the first half, which is about where I was before I picked, no, it was exactly where I was before I picked it up tonight. Second half, skyrockets. So good. There are just so many amazing things that B.B. Alston does in here. How he uses the whole idea of the magical element of it, the supernatural element of it, to put a spotlight on certain things in real life. Like, this is all about image creation. In this one, I would say that's the biggest one. And how people spin things, wow. Absolutely wow. This is amazing. I cannot wait to go out and actually own these books. I don't know what I was thinking the first time I read the first book, and thinking it was just average. Okay, this is fantastic. This had better be nominated on the Goodreads Choice Award. Just saying. It's phenomenal. So we made it to Friday and I survived my first high school pep rally. Now, my high school had pep rallies, but nothing like this, because I mean, my whole high school was about the size of a grade level at my current high school. Yeah. Anyway, because, you know, small private school. That was fun, loud, pointless, you know, pep rally. I yesterday started Violet Made of Thorns, I think is the name of it. This is the Fairy Loot version of the book. I decided to keep this one when this is the August Fairy Loot book and it had been the July Owl Crate book. I like this style of the hardcover better even than embossing on the hardcover, so I'm keeping this one. Also, this has sprayed edges and Owl Crate doesn't. So I've started this. I'm not super far into it, about 85 pages. So I've got a little bit of a taste of it. And in this setup, you have a prickly heroine who is she's this official seer, so she has a little bit of magic, but she also was raised on the streets, basically, like an orphan, and was plucked out of obscurity when she saved the life of the crown prince. Came to the palace, and then the old seer died with this prophecy that basically said, like, predicted the prince's death, or that his choosing of a bride would bring war or not. Really calamitous prophecy. From what I can tell, she and the prince used to be friends-ish. I mean, she saved his life. But they hate each other now. Like, cannot stand each other. Like, she'll publicly humiliate him, etc. And he also can't stand the fact that she will lie when it is politically expedient, because his father, who is basically her boss, has trained her to lie for political purposes, but still give prophecies. But Cyrus, the prince, he hates that fact. And I can see that. I can see the cynicism in her. It's very evident that she's lost all hope. She's jaded. So I think the characterization is done well. There's just something about it that just feels slightly off in how it's flowing. Nothing specific. It just feels a little weird. And as I've been reading, I've been trying to pick up on what am I noticing that's awkward. So there's just, I guess, some awkward flow to the plot or something. I'm not really sure. So I'm liking it. We'll just see how the plot continues to develop from here. As far as audiobook goes, timing-wise of when I'm getting stuff done, I have not been leaving myself enough time to both read for a while physically and to cross-stitch and listen to an audiobook. So I am no further into that Alcatraz book. So hopefully tonight I will get to that and finish the Alcatraz book and start To Sleep in a Sea of Stars tomorrow. Okay, so it's Saturday morning. Mom's on her way over. We're about to start our run. Last night, I read about another 100 pages, so I'm about halfway through, and I still feel conflicted about this book because there are things that the author is doing well. There are bits in here that feel like it's Cinderella retellings, but with a twist, because certain things are different about it. And certain things I appreciate. Some of the things that I talked about in the update before. But then other times, it just feels so off. Like, at one point, the main love interest, the prince, being a jerk. He legitimately is being a jerk. But her response to him is very modern. It's really hard to describe because just there are pieces of this, like some of the mechanics, that aren't fitting with the plot and the characterization. But then the plot, I don't get. The plot doesn't make a lot of sense. And some of the side characters are not developed at all. Like there's the prince's best friend, who's also a really good friend of the main character. But he just seems like a convenience to have there. He has no development whatsoever. I don't think I'm actually going to end up holding on to this book, even though it's so pretty. I don't know. Because, like, I don't dislike it, and I can't find anything, like, completely wrong with it, or actually, like, put my finger on what's wrong with it. So that's a little disappointing. We'll see how things unfold from here. One thing that I discovered, unpopular book opinion, some people like the little ribbon bookmark. I hate them. I hate them. If I weren't thinking about donating and giving this away, and the fact that other people like them, I would already have cut that out. I don't like the ribbon bookmark. So I just finished Violet Made of Thorns. There's something on this, on the Naked Hardback to say that. And I just wish it made sense. There were so many times where there was potential for a compelling story, and yet nothing ever amounted of it. In the author's note at the end, the author mentions that she's been working on this story for 11 years. I don't see the work that went into it. And I know, I'm not saying that to trivialize her work, but I just don't see how so much work on a story like this could end up coming together and making sense, because it didn't. So many times throughout this story, there were little things about the writing that pulled me out of the narrative, sort of jarred me, and I couldn't get into the flow. And then as it neared the end, things started to come together, but in a way that ultimately just didn't make sense. I didn't ever buy the relationship between Cyrus and Violet. Never. It's, I think, supposed to be an enemies to lovers sort of thing. Or that he always loved her, or I don't know. Never bought that relationship. Never bought what she was supposed to do to him. Never bought the whole magic in this world and what was going on. Ultimately, I don't think this is going to get a very high rating. I think this is probably going to end up being a 2.5 because there was just so much that just did not work for me. Maybe it would work for somebody else. And I hate that because this naked hardback is gorgeous and I love the sprayed edges and everything. I'm going to end up unhauling both this Fairy Loot version and the Owl Crate version. So now I don't have to decide what to keep. I do, however, have to decide what I'm going to read next. Next weekend, next Saturday, is the next gym for Pokeathon. So I went through my TBR for the month, and this gym is focused on poison type Pokemon, so there's a lot of them. Obviously, I'm not going to try to catch all of them in one day because can't read that much in 24 hours. I know I read fast, but I can't catch like 20 some Pokemon in one day. But I went through and I tried to find as many of my shorter reads that would fit for multiple Pokemon. So I'm not going to pick up any of those. Part of me wants to pick up something that I know will be a guaranteed hit and like go ahead and start Way of Kings. Especially since I have a day off coming up on Monday for Labor Day. I guess you'll find out in the next update what I decide to pick up. Okay, so just popping on to say it's Saturday evening. I'm not going to do another long update or anything, but I decided against picking up Way of Kings just for now and wanted to give Together We Burn a try. It was one of the Owl Crate books, and I think it will be an Owl Crate book that I have success with. So this is one that's set in medieval Spain. I'm going to put it down for a second. I think that might be why the camera's having trouble focusing. It has the whole idea of dragon fighters instead of bullfighters, and there's a lot of stuff that is very Spanish. There's flamenco, there's actual Spanish text in there. Sorry, I had to rotate a little bit because for some reason the glare was not working, and it has worked other times. So that's the setting. At the start of this book, there's a tragedy at the arena where their main character, like her family, I think owns it, and her dad is a famous dragon fighter, but her mom died the year before, killed by a dragon. That's in the prologue. But there's a tragedy that happens, and it's threatening to completely wipe them out. It's something funny. I was about 65, 70-ish pages in, and I paused for a second and decided, okay, I'm going to go over and I'm going to read the synopsis because I had forgotten what it was. And I wanted to, figure out who's going to be the love interest, because at that point, only one other person had been mentioned. A mage, basically, like a magician, who, like, he would take the carcasses of the dragons after they were killed and study. I read it and I was like, Arturo. I don't know an Arturo. I'm like, yeah, it hasn't been introduced. And then I picked up the book again. Literally, the next page that I read was the first time that she met him. Hilarious. I will admit that I have done this thing that I do when I'm really into a story and like invested in the relationship. I will skip to the end. I haven't read the whole ending, but of course I've seen spoilers, whatever. I'm okay with some spoilers, but I've read these pieces that make me excited about the relationship and about where the story's going. I had no sense of that in Violet Made of Thorns. This one, however, so tropey, but so good. I'm really enjoying it, so that's a relief. So I definitely didn't plan to come on here again. I finished it in one day. I didn't plan to finish it. I couldn't put it down. Could not put it down. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I told you, I skipped ahead. I knew who the villain was, and I didn't care. This book is so tropey. It's so full of tropes. It's so expected. And I still loved it. I still loved it. This is why I read. I love this book. I loved my experience reading this book. I love Zarella and Arturo. Man, if I could get me an Arturo. Yes, pretty please. Yeah. I'm gonna stop before I embarrass myself, but I really, really like this book. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up the vlog here. I'll just briefly mention that I finished the third Alcatraz book, Alcatraz versus the Knights of Crystalia. I thought this was an excellent outing in the book. There was something profound that Sanderson put into the book about 3/4 of the way through, and unfortunately I can't remember what it is, but I loved it, thought it was great. One thing I thought was funny, at the end, I was just listening a little bit to the end so it would play out, and the people doing the actual thing, they called Sanderson Brian Sanderson. Yeah, on the official audiobook of the work. Anyway, I have had this sitting by my couch for a little while and thought it was the last of the reissued covers, but then realized, wait a second, that's coming out in a couple days. And then I remembered what book this actually is. I'm like, I haven't opened it yet. So I'll open it with you. I was right. It's The Dragon's Promise. I read this as an ARC, pre-ordered it immediately. I am so excited about this book. Nice blue cover with a little bit of indenting. I don't know that you can see it. I'm so excited that I now own both books in the duology, and I just think it's great. I overall had a great week of reading. Right now I am trying to edit my August unboxings, but I've currently got the little spinning wheel of death, and all because I pressed pause and then restart and it decided to be like, no, I'm not going to work for you. There's that. But I had a great week of reading. I've got a day off tomorrow for Labor Day. I'm gonna see how much I can get read. I'm trying to finish the audiobooks that I had on the go, which were the Alcatraz book and the Indigenous History of the United States. And then I will start To Sleep in a Sea of Stars via audiobook. I'm not sure what else I'm gonna pick up, but I'm gonna end the week with one of the Pokeathon gyms. So a lot to look forward to. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.